You like something, and you leave it alone. Not by accident. Not because you missed it. You saw it clearly enough to feel it. That's where it changes. There's a shift from instinct to control. You stop treating it like something alive and start treating it like something that needs to be handled properly, so it stays contained. You keep it in thought. You examine it. You try to understand what it is before you let it exist outside of you. Nothing moves. Time passes, and the moment closes without anything ever touching reality. From the outside, there's nothing to recognize. No signal, no expression, no direction. So it disappears without resistance. That's the part people misunderstand. They think something didn't work out. It never reached the stage where it could. Psychology frames it as avoidance, but that's too soft. It's control through inaction. You remove exposure and call it stability. It works perfectly. No rejection, no embarrassment, no loss. Also no development. Jung would describe it as a split in priority. The part of you that wants something is active, but it doesn't lead. Another part steps in and keeps things contained. That part isn't weak, it's effective. It keeps everything predictable. Nothing unexpected enters. Nothing changes shape. So what you want never becomes something you interact with. It stays as a contained experience. Recognized but not expressed. Stoics would cut through all of that and ignore the reasoning entirely. If something matters, you act in relation to it. Not because it guarantees anything, because without action, there is nothing to relate to. You don't learn from thinking about something. You learn from contact with it. Without that, everything stays theoretical. Buddhism looks at the tension that sits underneath it. Wanting a specific result creates pressure before anything has even happened. That pressure alters behavior. You don't move freely. You move carefully. Care turns into hesitation. Hesitation turns into stillness. So nothing enters the world in a real way. Hermetic thought closes the structure. As within, so without. Internal state defines the boundary of external experience. If something never leaves your internal space, it never interacts with anything outside of it. No interaction means no feedback. No feedback means no change. So the pattern holds. You recognize something, you contain it, and then it passes, not rejected, not lost, unexpressed. That builds a specific kind of outcome over time, not failure. Absence, moments that felt real to you but never existed anywhere else. Nothing to point at, nothing to learn from, just a sense that something was there and is now gone. That's heavier than getting it wrong, because at least getting it wrong creates movement. This creates nothing, and it reinforces itself. The more you operate like this, the more natural it feels, clean, controlled, stable, and empty. So the change isn't about becoming bold or forcing confidence. It's about removing the block at the exact point it appears. Right when you recognize something and feel that shift toward control. That's the moment. Not later. Not when it feels safer. Then you don't need a perfect read. You don't need certainty. You need contact. Something that exists outside your head. A move that can be responded to. Once that happens, the situation becomes real. It can develop. It can shift direction. It can become something you didn't predict. Before that, it's static. and static things don't go anywhere. So what you like never knows, not because it wasn't there, because it never reached it. And that's the whole difference between something that could have been real and something that actually is.